Ding from the Hangout, which you probably can't hear. Good morning, everyone. This is episode 247. This is the pre-show, brief pre-show. My normal disclaimer, which I keep forgetting to do in front of every show, this is the raw version of the show, with all the flubs, etc. left intact, so if you watch this video later, it hasn't been cleaned up as much as I cleaned up. I actually went a bit easier last week on the audio editing, and no one noticed. So
it's very fun. Hopefully this time I won't get angry, because I know most of that got cut out last time I was on. Just me saying, no, I don't want to talk about this.
Well, yeah, I try not to. Leave that kind of stuff in, just to make it smooth. Is there something you want to get angry about, Sweaterista?
No, I'm happy this week. We're not talking about the future of reading. We're okay.
Oh, yes. No, no, let's not. Not this week, anyway. Do we have any news on that? No, we don't. And you just wanted me to add in about the PvP mailbox. Da-da-da.
Yeah, is there anyone in the chat right now who's actually in-game who can verify there is now a mailbox in the PvP section of the fleet? Because I've seen this, I haven't checked it out myself.
Right, I saw a tweet about it, but that's it. I don't have any real confirmation either.
This would be the kind of thing I would Photoshop just for fun, so...
You mean just a troll?
Yes, just a troll.
How authentic is the picture on Reddit?
It looks good. It looks for realsies.
Oh yeah, but with Photoshop, well, anything could look real, can't it? Actually, there's a way of doing a image forensic on it. So you can actually see if it was Photoshopped. Oh, it's just in the PvP section on the fleet. Is that what you were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, is that all it meant? Just on the fleet?
I thought you meant in a... Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that gives you something else to do while you're waiting for your queues to pop.
Yeah,
but it was going to be inside the war zone.
War zone, yeah. It's actually where the mailbox is, or used to be in the fleet, was in the PvP section. Was a really awkward spot. I think you actually had to go. There isn't one, so you actually have to go up to the around the corner. Yeah, it's just why. If it's finally there, fantastic. But I'll do a bit of image forensic on it. Except those guys, yeah. Anyway, later. Because we have a show to do. Only a Wookiee. Hello, welcome, first time person listening to the show or watching the show. Yeah. Yeah, sorry if the actual reality of all this is a little disappointing, but if only we were as professional as the audio version actually made us sound. Yeah. Anyway. Alright, let's all, between the three of us, make a conscious effort not to Now, Sweaterista, you basically don't have to worry about that because you never do, or very rarely.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I know I do, and I know Chill may a little bit.
Yes,
so,
I've been known to, let's put it that way.
Yes. Golden silence is far better than an
Okay.
I'm actually trying to automatically remove them, because I can do that with... Alright, anyway, sorry.
Is this a new editing tack you're taking, or something?
I can... Well, no, it's just a way of removing it, because I do take the ums out for the most part. Let me just stop doing that, and then we'll just see how it is, and you can decide whether you want to leave them in the future.
Sounds good. Sounds like a good way to make me not do it.
Indeed. If there's no negative consequences, if it all just gets taken away, what's the incentive to change?
That's right.
All right. Now, you are both recording. I will be recording. Let me just get this here so I don't forget again. Okay. Show notes are up. Okay, Chill. Get us all primed. Get us all pumped up.
All right. We're going to go in 5. Everyone's ready to go, so let's do it. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that believes Kylo Ren has an 8-pack. This is episode 247, being recorded on Wednesday, February 8th, 2016. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey, guys.
Yes, that was an SNL reference. Our guest today is Sweaterista. Sweaterista, how you been?
I'm great, thanks. Glad to be on the show.
All right. Now, you obviously were not in on the live show last week, but we did hear your voice on the final version since you were in on the Academy. So that was pretty cool. And you've got the videos going. So what else is going on? What you been up to?
I actually listened to the last episode. I thought it was really good from a more casual player's perspective. You guys had a lot of good discussions. So anyone who hasn't listened to that, go back one episode and come back to this one afterwards. But this week and last week before, I've been doing the hard modes to try and get gear up for nightmare modes again. And the first week we did hard mode Karaga's Palace, and it was an absolute snooze fest. And we were able to do it so incredibly fast that I ran out of alts before the end of the week, and I couldn't do it anymore.
Holy cow.
And I've also been working on EC this week, and I was looking forward to that one. Explosive Conflict, for anyone who hasn't done it before, is a fairly early operation, so it's easy in terms of health and stuff like that, but it's the first operation where the mechanics really started playing a key role, and you really have to pay attention and be certain places, and you can't just go pew-pew and kill it, but it was still fairly easy because it was just hard mode. And the last thing I've been working on this week is working on the videos. I made my first video for the Academy segment I've been doing on OotiniCast, and I learned so much about video editing in this last week. I learned that you can use Windows Alt-R to record things if you have Windows 10. I learned that Windows Movie Maker is no longer good to use, and it will constantly crash on you. But a good alternative is called Wondershare Filmora, and it costs about $30, but it seems to work really, really well. And you can use Handbrake if you want to compress your videos, and that's like all you need to do video editing for Sator. It's been really fun.
Very nice.
Wondershare Filmora. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that. Excellent. And anything in-game that you want to talk about besides the operations?
9,999. Oh, be still in my heart. The crafting changes came out just a day ago, and I started looking at them, but I was so confused. There's just so much going on, and then I've been hearing reports from guildmates that a bunch of the crafting skills, all their schematics are gone, and some of them, they can't find the new crystals, and I'm just going to wait a few days until I start really looking into it.
Actually, you may have better luck tomorrow, but more about that later.
Excellent. All right. Tio, how about your week?
Well, I actually did have time to play a reasonable amount this last week. Now, this is all before the patch for the most part. I did my first heroic Star Fortress. I thought, what the hell, why don't I just dive in? I'd been doing a whole bunch of heroics. I'd accumulated 40 plus of the crates that you get from doing the heroics, and which you can trade into the Alliance Specialists. And I'd already heard that you needed 5-ish to get past a step when in unlocking each of the heroic of the various Star Fortresses, just as the intro quest, we have to take down the shield generator. You need in between, you need those 5 crates before you can actually do the heroic version of that planet's Star Fortress. So I started with Alderaan, and when I took my rank 22 companion, yes, Lana is only rank 22, this is on my Sork, and I got into Star Fortress and found the thing where you unlock your various buffs that the Alliance Specialists give you, the 4 of them, and realised I hadn't actually leveled up their rank on this particular character. So they're all rank 1 or 2, and you need rank 3 to unlock each of the buffs. So I had none.
So close, but so far.
Indeed, and the irony was I had so many of the damn boxes, I could have gone up to 3 very, very easily. So, oh well, I mean, I could have pulled out at that point. In fact, I probably should have, but I thought, what the hell? I'm just going to give it a shot.
Heroics!
So the long and the short of it is, I got through it, and I did actually finish it, and got the One for All achievement on my first run through. As in doing...
a very important question. Okay, when you turn in the crates, you get the special crate boxes back that have gear in them. Did you open them up as you get them, or just have a mass opening fest at the end?
Pretty much a mass opening fest, because that was fun, yeah. Though they have changed it apparently, so you no longer get the green. You only get green companion gifts out of those. You don't get the blue anymore.
Oh, you used to get
Premium.
really good ones, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad I opened a few of them before this patch. But anyway, so yes, I got One for All. But that last fight, bloody hell, with the X-Arch. It was tough. Really tough. I don't know if I was doing something wrong. I'm using a Madness Spect Sork, so a lot of dot damage, but what made it hard was the X-Arch focused on my companion, who was in heal mode, and nothing I could do when he actually did that would get them off. Eventually, I just couldn't. I lost Lana probably around the 40% mark, where the boss was 40%, and then I just had to kite like mad, ... kite, ... kite. Yeah, so, and it took me, let's just say, quite a few goes, but I was quite stubborn about it and actually got it.
How'd you feel when you actually got it done?
Very, very happy. Very, very satisfied. Because any kind of challenging thing, it's frustrating as hell until you eventually do it, and then you feel really good about yourself.
I'm really hoping what's the new content called? Where you get to do the Eternal Championship. Yeah, I'm hoping that's what it's going to feel like.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
Fingers
all the way to the
crossed.
end. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the next day I did the Nar Shaddaa Heroic Star Fortress, but I did get the buffs this time because I leveled all my Alliance Specialists up to a rank 3. So I got the 4, which give you a health bonus, a presence bonus to make your companion stronger, a damage reduction buff, and a damage done buff, so the damage you do is increased as well. And yes, I did make it a reasonable amount easier. That last fight was still painful when the boss focused on my companion again. So I don't know what to do about that beside rank up my companion somewhere above 22, get them closer to 50, I guess. Also, just a quick aside, I hadn't realised that if you pick up the weekly mission, which requires you to do 6 Star Fortress runs, you can do 6 normal, or if you do a heroic, they count for 2. So
Nice.
you need only 3 heroic to actually finish the weekly.
I didn't realize that. That's cool. It's really
Yeah.
fast then.
Exactly. I also noticed in passing the companion resurrection time. Now, normally we just use rocket boost or whatever to get our companion back if they're dead.
Yeah.
But I noticed the cast time's now 1.5 seconds, and that seemed a lot faster than it used to be. I thought it would take longer to actually resummon them. But yeah, you can bring it back really quickly, and that surprised me.
They must have realized that everyone was just getting around that mechanic anyway.
Dismiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Dismiss or
Come back to
jetpack or
life.
whatever. Yep.
Now, I did get as we all did, who was subscribed, as on February 1st, I got the HK55 jetpack. Yes, it's cool. Yes, it has a mount flourish. That's one of those things you have to trigger it.
Forgot to check
I believe
that.
it's Control Z by default. And it fires, there's 3 jets on the back, and the mount flourish will switch between all 3 jets firing or just 1 jet firing.
Cool.
And yeah, it's cool.
I've heard some really mixed reviews about it. Like, people think it's really cool looking, but then it doesn't match a whole lot in the game. Not a lot of armors are gold, or that strange silvery gold color it is.
Right. Yeah, and we still can't recolor mounts, because that would be a really cool thing.
Oh, that would be awesome, but not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Now, something Dekion pointed out, as we were just talking on one evening, that the crafting, the crew skills window, now actually tells you for each of your companions what their time efficiency, their efficiency for crafting is, like, and their crit chance.
Nice.
As in, if you have a rank 10 companion, plus 15% time efficiency for crew skill tasks, plus 5% crit, which is pretty much where it was with the previous system where we had affection rather than influence, and the maximum level or rank was 10 or 10,000 affection.
That's nice.
So, yeah.
That's a nice little... That's
Yep.
yet another little quality of life thing.
We are drowning in quality of life changes, as we'll talk about later. Now, next, sorry, I've got a few things to say this week. Cargo hold consolidation, as Sweaterist has already mentioned, the change to 9,999 stack size. And just think about that for a second. That is 100 times the 99 stack. So you would need 100 of anything to 100 stacks of anything to actually use that up. So you do actually need 2 stacks, and I didn't get anywhere close. I think the highest was my Warzone med packs. I had somewhere over 2,000 of them. But
I want to see a picture of someone that has
Yeah.
9,999.
Yeah. Speaking of the crew skills window, I also noticed they've changed the font. It seems smaller now, and they've definitely redone the UI, so it's all a lot more friendly. Okay. If emptier than it probably should be, more on that later. And finally, last night, I did actually play through Chapter 10, Anarchy in Paradise. So, my suspicion...
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Would not dream of it. So, what I will say was one thing that I saw that quite impressed me was a little chair thump animation, which I hadn't really noticed before. It's Arkan sitting on his throne, and he just thumps the chair, which I hadn't seen before. That was kind of cool.
Can I have that as an emote?
That would be awesome. Something that I didn't like was that the companions who accompany you through the story, apparently you don't get a choice. You are stuck with one of them to start, and then another one, a new one, for the duration, which may or may not be related to Firebrand. So that will make...
We saw that with Lana and Koth in past chapters, and in the very older games, the Kotar games, they showed that a lot, where you had to have a certain person with you at certain times.
Which is fine, but if they're low-rank companions, it will make the content... I suppose it ensures that you don't have a rank 50 companion, so you can just
blow through everything. Hey, you can stop and feed gifts to them if you really want to.
That is very true. You are correct.
It'll slow you down even more, though.
Yeah.
Did you notice, Gio, when you hit the play button and you're getting ready to do that chapter, there's a little pull-down menu with all your companions, but it doesn't seem to do anything. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I pulled it down to, and I made it for my Act Dog, because I assumed, well, if they have the pull-down menu, they must be, like, making this your starting companion or something when you get in there. But when I got in there, it wasn't the Act Dog. It was just there, and like apparently they pretty much want you to have. So I don't know what that pull down menu was even for.
Something they intended to work but didn't, and they couldn't get it working. It'd be nice if they could do it like that in the future.
Yeah, right. Or maybe it's something that's really going to be implemented later. I have no idea.
All right, now let me be a little bit critical about the chapter. There's a system that they've got where you have extra ads that turn up, so you start an encounter and then another one drops in and something else drops in. I found that really irritating, to be honest. I mean, it's all very dynamic and whatever, but if you're spreading your dots around and then extra guys eventually join in, it becomes annoying when your dot spreader is on a cooldown. But that's just a little thing. The room design was a little bit felt on rails. A lot of the areas you go into are instanced. This is all ones that are cool.
Yes.
And yeah, I didn't like that very much. I mean, it wasn't too bad in that respect. Oh, and finally, Sky Troopers. Sky Troopers. There were a few other NPCs, but for the most part, Sky Troopers. Oh, and there were also a few Zakul Knights, of course.
Yes.
Who are all elites and all have an irritatingly high amount of health. But, I mean, that's all the fun of it, I guess. There was in Orabesh, a bit of graffiti on the walls in a few places, which says Firebrand with a flame behind it, which I thought was kind of nice. Keep your eye out for that. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was Scorpio, just in the final cutscene, which I won't obviously go into. Her metal skin is looking really, really good. The stuff they're doing with reflections is fantastic. So Scorpio
shiny. It's the same stuff that's on the jetpack, isn't it? Same kind of shininess.
Yeah, and it's never looked so good. So whatever they're doing with the engine, certain aspects of it are looking really good. Very, very pretty. Oh, and finally, crew skills. Just wanted to mention, you don't need to train them up. You automatically go up to 550 as your next limit, starting at wherever you are. All of mine are 500 down to 550. I thought that was kind of nice too. But you do have to train your new schematics. Anyway, after a far too long, that's my week. Over to you, Chill.
All right. Well, first, a shout out to the chat room. Let me go ahead and get this updated. Because I think last week they were saying that I was way behind the times.
You did miss some people.
Yes, but I was reading the list that I had. Here we go. All right, so Big Greenham is here. Blacklock's Rotor, Beware 2, Castaneda 8390, Count Luku, Darth Brundlefly, Dekion Diggity 82, Dreadex is here, Evan 04111, Farseer, Floridan, Gahana, Jockins, Loken Zaro, Only a Wookiee, first time in the chat room here. He was mentioning that before. Pew 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 Empire is here. Scott Thomas, Siskayetka, Sith Kitty, Swotarista, Trig PT, Vraskro Brakash, I guess. Sam is here. Z-Rigs, X-Rigs X, and Zwotor. Hello, everyone. All right, I'm going to read this a little out of order. First of all, I did do some heroics, including some with former interviewee guest Kimi, and she was lots of fun to actually play with. As you can imagine, with her lots of opinions and just always interesting to talk to. So that was a lot of fun. Then on Saturday, it was Saturday, right? Yes, the Utini Hunt. We participated in. I actually streamed what I did of it. I actually got there slightly late because I had an appointment, but and then I was thinking, well, I didn't know how I was going to participate. I assumed I was going to be like watching someplace, for just to see, who's gone where or whatever. But everyone said, yeah, no, just go ahead and participate. So I jumped in. I was only a couple minutes late, so it wasn't really that big a deal. Went through. There was 22 items. The list was on. It still is, as far as I know, on OotiniCast.com/forums in the general area. And 22 items. Most of them were from vendors. There was one drop, and a couple of sort of tricky ones you had to figure out how to get. So probably the trickiest was the egg. You have to get that special egg that only comes from those nests on either Alderaan, and then there's a couple of other places. So I looked around Alderaan for a while, didn't get any luck at all, then realized that there were some on Terrace, tried Terrace and got one there, so that was good. Actually, oddly, one of the ones was it was just a white item, but I didn't know that actually, because it was just called Miner's Vest. I thought it was a drop. Actually, I was doing Google searching, trying to figure out where the heck it was, and all the things that said information about it just said what it was, but didn't say where you could get it. But I did notice it was level 14, so I knew it was on Coruscant somewhere. So I was trying killing a bunch of elites and all that good stuff. Yeah, and but then I kind of picked up a clue that I was at I think it was the Black Sun area, and there's a vendor there for light, medium, and heavy, and it had boots, and it was miner's boots. But I was like, okay, maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Maybe there's another vendor. Maybe they split this whole setup in a weird way. And sure enough, that's where it was. Yeah, it was on another vendor, and each vendor apparently has one piece of this miner's gear for some reason. So if you wanna go get this miner's gear, you're gonna end up going all over Coruscant to all these weird vendors. So I ended up actually finishing first. So because what we did is we got the 22 items, and then we had to go find Dread, which for some reason, when I was doing the stream, I thought he had said, or maybe someone else had said, that he was on the fleet hiding. But so I went to the fleet first and started looking around. Then I realized, okay, he's not showing up anywhere on the minimap or anything. And then I just hovered over him, and it's like, oh, okay, he's not on the fleet at all. He's on freaking Valsavis. So went to Valsavis. I actually got there first, and so technically I took first place. But as host of the show, and also the fact that I was streaming and people were, even though I wasn't really encouraging it, people were giving me hints and stuff in the chat room. I didn't feel good about actually taking anything, so I just pretended that that I actually hadn't really participated, and just waited to see who really won. So that was Sukai Beru. So he came in and he had I believe all the items, or all but one of the items. It was really close to when the time cutoff was, and I believe Sukai Beru was the first one to get there and sort of get everything. Anyway, got second place, got the prize money. So thank you to Dread for organizing all this and for hanging out for 2 hours, apparently the whole time on Valsavis, and waiting for people to finish. So it was a lot of fun, and I did go ahead and put the stream up on YouTube, as well as save it on my Chill Swotor stream as well. So Ignacio, Larote, Fiona, Dekion, and Gahana were among the others who participated. So that was a lot of fun, and Dread did end up giving me, along with everyone else, a complimentary pack. Since everyone was getting them, I went ahead and accepted that. I ended up getting a large turret and a hanging banner decoration, so those are both really nice. The large turret is kind of like the Hoth one that has the pipe and then the gun emplacement on top of it that rotates. Looks very good. So, and then finally, I did also do the Cleo chapter. I streamed that, finished it in a little over an hour. And there was one or two times when choices did matter, so that was kind of cool. No spoilers, but that was interesting. And I noticed that afterwards, after the twist where it becomes clear that choices are mattering, if you go to your list of all the companions and just your alliance screen where it shows everyone, not just your companions, if you click on them, it'll sometimes show you like the list of interactions where you made them happy or not happy, or they remembered this or whatever. And so that was kind of a nice little touch too. So I also did go ahead.
I should mention, in doing my playthrough on my dark side Sork, made some of those choices, which it turned out actually did matter. So yes, I have suffered the full consequences of my choices. What a shock! Can't say I care that much, but
no,
choices do matter.
But it did make a difference.
It did,
and it will change the story going forward for at least some time. And then I did do Blizz. He became available with this as well. It's pretty straightforward. Just a little hint, because it was bothering me. It doesn't tell you how many you need to actually finish this thing. If you have 20, you have enough. And what happens is the little things you need to click on become unclickable at that point. So if all of a sudden they become unclickable, it's not a bug. It probably means you have enough of them. You can go back to Blitz at that point. And then there's some more stuff. Actually, the clickable stuff is pretty straightforward, and it's not too exciting. But the later part, then there's like a middle part, and then the later part is actually really fun, where you actually have a whole gaggle of Jawas around you for a little bit, and that's a lot of fun.
Cool.
Nothing more specific than that. Oh, one little thing though, there's like a second part that I kind of just skipped over just now. You're basically just going around and handing some items out. At one of them, there wasn't a Jawa where there was supposed to be a Jawa. If that happens, just switch instances, because the Jawa is supposed to be there. There doesn't seem to be any reason for him not to be there. So when I switched instances, he was there, and then I just continued from there. So I'm not sure why there wasn't a Jawa on that one particular instance, but yeah, just make the switch if you have to. All right, and that will bring us to the tip of the week, and we've got 3 tips this week. I'll go ahead and start us off with one from Kuze. And Kuze writes, a great tip for new players is to buy account-wide unlocks for opening up extra storage space. This way, when you create new alts, you don't have to worry about purchasing the extra slots again. You can buy the unlocks on the cartel market, or do what I do and purchase them from the GTN. Just type the word account into the GTN search box, and you'll see all the account-wide unlocks. That's clever, because basically all of them have the word account in their name. There are a few useful things other than cargo unlocks as well. I would periodically check the GTN for the best deals.
One of the most important ones, of course, is the one that lets you wear purple gear, the artifact unlock.
For the inventory and bank storage space unlocks, just keep in mind that it will unlock the one closest to the beginning of your character's unlocks. So if you have unlocked the first 4 on your main character with credits, and you're like, oh, the last one's really expensive, I'll buy an account unlock for all my characters, then when you make a new character, you'll just get the really cheap one unlocked instead.
Yes. However, once you do buy 7, I believe, account-wide cargo bay and inventory unlocks, any character you create will automatically have all 10 rows. So, I did that ages ago, and it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Never have to worry about it.
Yep.
Just watch for those bargains and pick them up when you can.
Absolutely.
Our second tip is from Blay, our friend Blacklock. I should be doing this tip in a Welsh accent, but I'm not going to. My first tip of the week involves the first duel with Arkan during Chapter 8 of Knights of the Fallen Empire. During the battle, Arkan will drop red AoE circles on top of your character as you run around. The red circles will keep spawning at your position, and any attacks on Arkan are deflected by the shield in front of him. Stay close to Arkan so that a circle appears beneath his feet, and then turn him around so that the middle of the circle is behind him. Then when the AoE blast hits him, it will stun him for a few seconds, allowing you to attack freely. Oh wow! That fight was annoyingly prolonged.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I just kind of pew-pewed things during all the chapters, so I didn't really pay attention to the mechanics of the fight, but that's really neat.
It
yeah,
is.
I missed that aspect of it. That's cool.
Blade linked a video of him doing this, so on Twitch, which I'll include in the show notes. He goes on, I also believe this works during the Heskel duel, but he didn't get it on video. Now his second tip of the week involves the rematch with Arkan during Chapter 8. Around the area where the battle starts, there are 4 glowing panels. The blue glow should be the tip that you can do something with them, which I did see when I did that, and I did click on them, and it wasn't immediately obvious. I dragged him over and clicked it, but I'm not sure what effect it had. Anyway, Blade goes on. During the fight, run up to a panel and click on it. The panel will explode and have an electrical short effect. Then move Arkan near the exposed panel and turn him so he has his back to it. You need to make sure Arkan is close to the panel. When Arkan attacks with his AoE, it will stun him, allowing you some time to rain down the pain on him while he's helpless. Not a very Jedi thing to do, but I'm a Sith. So it's okay, he said. The distance is important and you will need to make sure he's close enough to the panel so that the red AoE circle is hitting the panel behind him. And he's got a video of that too. I hope you enjoy the tips, as I had to run a character all the way from Chapter 1 just to get the tips on video. I say I had to, but I rather enjoyed it anyway. Take care all. Thank you, Blay. And yeah, that isn't what I did, so fantastic. Next time I do play through it, as I'm sure I will eventually, I'm going to give this a go.
All right, sounds good. And while I'm reading the third tip, Tio, you might need to do a random roll.
Oh yeah.
Third tip is from Jessek on Ebon Hawk. Some gathering level 8 mats. Remember, you can for a limited time exchange level 8 mats for level 9 mats. Are available from your stronghold nodes. The enriched Durasteel Cache node returns level 8 scavenging mats Mollytex and Ferium. The perfect Upari crystal node returns grade 8 archaeology Rusan crystals and enigmatic artifact fragments. Happy gathering! And by a random allotment,
Hang on.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's a great tip for when you're just gathering with your companions too for the next month or so. You can gather the less expensive grade 8 ones and just make sure you're getting the right ones to trade them up for what you actually need.
Exactly, and you may have a little trouble finding the nodes. Now, unfortunately, you don't get skill ups from them, which I actually tried that before we started recording today. I was a little disappointed by that. I thought if I could just gather in there and I could just skill up without having to find nodes, but no.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would.
All right, by random allotment, the winner is Blay. So congratulations, Blay. You're the winner of a Tonfon or M83R droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and a new OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the holo feed. Tio?
Well, let's talk about the obvious, shall we? Game Update 4.1. Anarchy in Paradise is live on servers, and if you were subscribed as of February 1st, you will have early access, and if you weren't, well, very shortly, you will have access yourself to the new chapter. As Jill mentioned, it takes roughly an hour or so to play through, maybe a bit longer if you don't spacebar or anything.
That's actually pretty good because other chapters were about 6 hours for 9 chapters, and this is a whole hour for 1 chapter.
Indeed. I was just about to bitch about the actual story content, but I'm not going to. It sounds like the next chapter shall be a little more exciting, shall we say. Alright, now, unfortunately, let me cover something else first. I'm going to have to cut all this out. Leading up to it, I was reminded that there is a certain amount of anticipation with the release of any new content, and the episodic content means that you actually get that every month. A lot of people were really looking forward to this. We're talking about it, counting down the hours.
Yes.
Let's hope the actual reality of it met those expectations. Though, of course, just being able to stack up to 9999 is worth anything. So, yeah. But anyway, unfortunately, they had projected a 4-hour maintenance time, but it unfortunately kind of stretched longer and longer and longer. Servers came up around 4 p.m. Pacific, which is roughly 7 hours after it should have. So yeah, terrible things went wrong. Now, initially, there were lots of posts on the forums, so Eric, who was on deck pretty much all day, just keeping everyone up to date and keeping the crowd amused, which I'm giving away cartel coins and mini pets and all kinds of stuff. So that worked out really well, so he did a great job there. And initially, the problem was with external network connectivity. So they are working with their external partners to resolve the issue. So that stretched things a bit. And then the servers came up, there was a post about it, and then 3 minutes later, Eric said, "Nah, sorry, not quite," and they took the servers down again. Though apparently someone actually bought a hypercrate and opened all of the packs in that time. I
I
posted
saw
about it on
that
Reddit.
picture. I was so excited because a couple weeks ago you asked, will there be a chance that I could get 2 of these little cube thingies in the same pack and nothing new? And oh.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit, but it's grand chance cubes. So yeah, they kept going all day. It turned out there was an issue with an unfinished Alliance Alert mission. The mission could potentially cause serious problems with a character, probably somehow corrupt its data in its database, which would probably make it unplayable or something equally terrible, and so they had to extend the downtime to fix it. It took them a while. They did eventually get it worked out, and the servers came up. Now, I've heard conflicting reports about bugs in the new content playing through it. I played through it. It was flawless. Worked exactly as expected. I had no problems at all. So,
Yeah,
chill.
no problems during the Firebrand part. Like I said, the one that one bug with the Blizz thing, but no big deal.
Now, anyone who downloaded prior to the patch going live, maybe after as well, some people were having some real problems. Error 310, as Farseer just mentioned in chat, popped up a lot, and people were more or less having to re-download the game, or the download speed was really slow. So something went terribly wrong. Maybe it's this problem with their external partners or something. The CDN, the Content Delivery Network they use, something was not good.
Right.
Myself, I downloaded it last night, which was quite a few hours after the service came up. It was over 4 point something gig of new content, but yeah, that just came down in 10 minutes, and I was playing, so that was fine.
Yeah,
So it does pay to wait sometimes.
Yeah, it was 20 minutes for me, and I was doing it less than an hour after the servers were up.
Right. So maybe it was just during. I know Charlie Kranitoko also, I believe, patched during the downtime, and his install got all kinds of messed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, not good. But anyway, everything's up and mostly working. However, we do have some problems, and in fact they have already announced a patch 4.1a will be deployed probably by the time you hear this on Thursday morning Pacific time. And so that will fix a issue to do with missing crafting schematics. Now, there's been posts about it. It turns out that for some crew skills, for some characters, you bring up your crafting UI and the lists are just empty. Even if you buy schematics, they're still not showing up. You can buy them again and just say you already know it, and it's just a mess. I've just left that completely alone for now. Once this patch goes live, I will actually take my my 6 crafters.
Yeah, I would say if you have an empty schematics list, don't stress out too much. It can't be totally missing. That'd be way too crazy. Just be
absolutely patient. Yes.
Okay.
No, you're right. It's purely a UI display or data retrieval or whatever issue behind the scenes. I'm sure everything's okay. But yeah, they will be fixing it overnight in patch 4.1a. Also, there was a few other issues that will be fixed, including unusable Alliance alerts. A bit more on that later. There's some area lag in around the chapter 10, around on Zakul, where you play through it. Apparently, the Outlander gear has changed colours. Don't know what to.
What?
Yeah, so I guess we'll see. And apparently Chapter 10 was not available to all people who it should have been. So that's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have too many issues with lag or anything. I think there was one area where my frame rate was going way down, but it just happened to be one of those areas where you weren't instanced, you're out in the middle of everywhere, and so there was a lot of people, because this was only an hour or two after it was actually up, a lot of people in that one area, so I assumed that was it, because when I was in my instances and so on, no issues with lag there.
I had a few points where it was a bit slow, a bit of ability lag, or you do something in the actual UI and the actual effect was a bit delayed, but yeah, again, for the most part it was okay, and there were quite a few people around for me as well. But
okay.
Yeah. Now, there are known issues. There is a post about this. At least some of these will be resolved in 4.1a, but probably quite a few won't be. There's a couple of Alliance alerts, Reclaim Treasure and Shining in the Darkness. They're in the UI, but they can't use them. Doesn't even say what they are when you click on it. They talked about the Outlander gears change colours, so they will be fixing that. And the schematics missing will be fixed. Loken, Dr. Loken, one of the companions you can recruit to your Alliance. The amount of influence you have won't be reflected until the item turn-in step in the mission, A Kindly Old Monster. So apparently you can progress a certain distance and it's not showing up. It's as if you're not getting any influence. But it is there. It's just not displaying. So don't panic about that. The craftable relics are all bind on pickup rather than bind on equip. They didn't mention that being fixed, but hopefully it will be. Yeah, the 212, 216 and 220, the new ones. And there's a bit of a screw up with 200 and 208 Artifice items require Arms Tech components, when they should require Artifice components, of course. And 200 and 208 Arms Tech items require Underworld trading materials, when they should require Investigation, because Arms Tech depends on the investigation research compounds, certainly not the metals.
Somebody got a little fast with their copy-paste.
Indeed. Cybertech grenades, and he had Armor Mech components rather than the Cybertech ones. And Arms Tech and Artifice weapons are missing color crystal slots. That's particularly bad, so let's hope that all gets fixed. If you've already crafted them or whatever, they're currently bind on equip. In theory, when they fix this, it will be retrospective, so they'll become bind on equip, I would assume.
Okay.
All right, now let's have a quick wander through the patch notes. A lot of this we did already know about. So we do have the new Alliance alert. It's called Armorasa for getting HK55, our new companion. And I didn't actually see that on my list. Jeez, that's bad.
It was on my list. When I was looking for Blizz, I noticed it, but I didn't have time or didn't make the time to do it.
I'll double check that. It must be there. And if it's not, then I'll put in a ticket. And of course, there is the Little Boss Alliance alert to get Blizz and his Jawa crew, or his gaggle of Jawa. So
I enjoyed it.
Chill mentioned earlier.
Yes. I'm glad Gaggle is catching on.
Indeed. What else would it be? Seems quite appropriate. Item stack limit. And as to 9999, as Descartes said, if being excited about stack limit changes is wrong, I don't want to be right. Now, there is a new slider for grass render distance. So you can increase it up to 200 meters from 64.
Oh, wow.
So as you're going along, you know how that weird appearance where the grass kind of appears in front of you like a sort of rolling out carpet. You can actually increase the distance to presumably stop that. But that
will stop it because 200 meters is pretty much as far as you're going to see just about anything anyway.
I'm looking forward to see that one because on Terrace especially you see that really bad, the grass pup.
That's true.
Yep. Of course, this may affect your performance. So obviously crank it up and then just see what it does to your frame rate.
Yes. Shouldn't be too bad, I wouldn't imagine, but we'll see.
Apparently the issue with searching stuff in the GTN, some items just not appearing, has been fixed. Hurrah! They have revised all speeder piloting items to require level 1 instead of level 10. Now, I believe this only refers to the ones you buy from the Cuttle Market.
Yes. The
speeder piloting 1, etc., allowing you to do speeder piloting earlier than you would naturally acquire that skill. So now you can do it from level 1. So even if you don't have rocket boost, outside at least you can actually ride a speeder. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, but wow.
On Tython, it's really fun to have a speeder.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Now this one's nice. Players are now able to purchase items from a vendor that require a token when that token is in your cargo hold. Now I don't know if that applies to Legacy because I didn't really test it out. Hopefully, but this does mean that if you had some tokens and you left them in your cargo hold and you went to buy, it'll just draw them out, just like when you craft. It will draw the items as you need them. So that is fantastic.
Quality of life.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
I wonder if
pretty serious one too.
It counts things like the special type of currency you get for like the Gree event and the bounty hunter tokens.
Oh, geez, I hope so. Yeah,
I hope so. And like Manon research data, all that
those
stuff.
I store in my Legacy bank and I never take out unless I need to buy something.
Well, I know it certainly does not apply to crafting materials when you'd want to trade them up from the grade 8 to the grade 9, as we're now able to do.
Actually take them in your inventory.
Right. Okay.
Oh yeah, I do want to
Because I
mention
guess that's definitely not a token then.
no, sadly.
Right.
I did want to mention the most effective way of consolidating your rows and rows of mats, because I had all my crafting mats for all my various companions all in their cargo bays. You know, like a row of 10 of some of them or more. The quickest way to consolidate those into your mega stacks is to move them to your inventory, because obviously they'll auto stack when you move them into a different area or from your
I
inventory
wish
into
I
your...
thought of that.
I started doing it the hard way and then realized, wait a second, I'll just move them to my inventory, and then yeah, so that worked
Very nice.
fantastic.
Click, 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 click.
So, my cargo bays are so empty now. I've got all this room. It's amazing.
You
At least
can
on my
put all
crafting
the
characters.
legacy gear you got from all those crates.
And
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I'll be able to put
That's a
like
thought.
companion gifts in my legacy bank. I've never done that before
Oh,
because the regular mats took so much room.
Indeed. So yeah, I've got a lot of my shared mats in my legacy bank now, so that's working out really
Yeah.
nicely. What else? Just going through the notes. Duels now end as intended. Instead of leaving the players in a dual flag purgatory doomed to battle for all eternity.
We had this happen. One of our guild members keeps a character parked on the Makeup Diatron, and he teleported someone over there, but the person had him stuck in a duel before that happened, and he killed him, and he wasn't able to summon anyone else over because he pushed him off the ledge.
Wow.
Well, there you go. They have fixed that issue, which is a bit unfortunate for the amusement value it did provide. They've corrected an issue that caused certain marriages, obviously between your character and companions, to not be acknowledged. This fix will not work retroactively and will provide the missed in-game mail, but any future content will work correctly. Now, someone asked about actually providing those mails somewhere so you can actually see them. So if you did miss out, you can actually see what they would have been, just like on the forums or something. But yeah, they didn't confirm they would do that.
And Beware 2 has tried the token turn-in thing, but it does not work from Legacy Bank, so it's only for your regular bank.
Thank you, Beware 2, and Sir Salisbury said the same thing. So, yes, thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Apparently, this is for Life Day, for this year's Life Day. In the future, players can no longer toggle off the dusted with snowflakes buff that's received when you get hit by a snowball.
So I'm gonna have to start being like, sorry, sorry, sorry every time I throw a snowball. Because before, at least I could console myself that I could take it off if they really hated it.
Yeah, because it does have that annoying snow effect. Yeah.
Did they do that just for when you actually get packages from it, or so that people can't cheese it?
Yeah, probably. But if you really want to cheese it, you do what Alex told us about and lay out all your companions in your stronghold and then just cycle through them. And by the time you get back to the first one, the buff's dropped off and
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's a good tip.
it would work. It's really clever.
Yeah.
It is no longer possible to use a /stuck command to leave operation encounters and avoid receiving the lockout. Now, they added this one in late, so presumably this was an exploit. So that's a bit... How about that? Anyway, if you were doing that, well, I guess you can't anymore.
I assume that would be like after you kill a boss or multiple bosses. That was going to happen?
I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that would definitely let you get a lot of gear fast.
Would let you preserve the lockout and then bring in new rolls and whatever else, yeah.
Yep.
Alright, now let's move on. There's a whole lot of stuff with crafting. A lot of this we already knew. Now, companions are now sorted based on their influence amount in the crew skill window. So your companion with the highest influence will be on the top. Now, isn't that useful?
Nice. Yes,
so
that's
that is
excellent.
nice, yeah.
Because that's pretty much all the crews.
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's what that window's for now anyway. It's not even where you pull them, you don't pull them out of that window anymore, so.
Correct. So I'm still pressing N to bring up the crew skills and getting the alliance windows. It's still annoying. It's B now, of course. B for your crew skills, but
I know.
we'll get
For a
used to
while
it
I was
eventually.
right, exactly. For a while I was actually considering switching those around just because that's the way I was doing it every time anyway, but I've decided I will eventually get it right most of the time.
Now, that vendor for doing the exchanging, the grade 8 mats up to the grade 9 mats for free, 1-to-1 conversion, is in the Crucicles area. He's on the outer ring, where near the trainers, basically. Where that vendor is who sells the white mats, he's basically standing right next to him. So it's a Jawa, at least on the pub side. I think I checked. So yeah, he will do the conversion for you and will be removed in Game Update 4.2, so you have a month to actually do a quick change up. I'm wondering if there's any point in hanging on to grade 8 mats, or if I should just convert them all.
I'm wondering. I'm wondering if, like, by the time that everyone's traded in all their grade 8 mats, if grade 8 mats will be super rare and anything you need to craft with them before, you can barely craft anymore because you can't find the mats. I don't know if there is any. No.
A quick visit to Yavin 4 would probably fix that pretty quickly. So,
yeah, that's true.
yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. I haven't actually had a look. When I was on Zakul, I didn't see a single crafting node. So I'm just wondering if that means they were all just picked clean. So
Maybe.
Or it just wasn't in the area where Chapter 10 was carried out. Let's see. All the changes were pretty much as we discussed. Remember, Crucible schematics are missing, but will probably be restored in 4.1a. So, yep, by the time you hear this, you should be able to handle, get those appropriately. Your MK8 augment slot kits can now be upgraded to MK9s just for free.
Nice.
I believe from the same vendor.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to take advantage of that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. And all your existing kits have all that have been actually applied to characters have all been upgraded, so
That is
no
nice.
change needed there. That was a very nice way of handling that. So no complaints there. Level 61 to 65 creatures and droids will now give you grade 9 materials rather than previous grade 8. Materials that are now received when reverse engineering randomly dropped items. So there you go. What happened previously when you reverse engineered randomly dropped items? Nothing?
I'm not sure.
I guess it was bugged.
Maybe.
I tended the vendor stuff rather than, because you always basically got more credits than the value of the mats.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Major reverse engineer upping the chance.
Where is that, Jill?
From 20 to 40%
yes.
to now 60% for reverse engineer.
Yeah, so any item that had that 20 to 40% chance, that's what Arista said. 60% chance, so...
60 something I wouldn't mind putting my money on. That's a decent chance. Like 20 or like, what's even the point? 40 or like, please, please, please. The 60 are like, yeah, I'll get in the next two if I don't get in this one.
That's
right. Hopefully that applies to gear that you get from operations, because those are the ones you actually care about reverse engineering. So
yeah, all those 220s. You can't reverse engineer 224s yet, right?
I don't believe so. Yeah, because that's always been their policy. Now, what else? I'll cover that already. We've just skipping stuff we covered last week. We talked about cruise skills. All right, moving on to flashpoints and operations. The change to nightmare operations. Remember, this is phase 1, where only the final boss will be guaranteed to drop 2-4 items. We finally know what the we finally now know what the probability is for the other bosses in a nightmare, except for the final boss. 5%. 5% chance to drop 2-4.
I would put $0
Oh my god.
on that. What are you supposed to do? Like when you get in a raid? Oh, sorry.
However, in Game Update 4.2 in a month, every boss in Nightmare will drop 2-4. So it's just for a month, 5%. Wow. Aren't we glad they listened to the community and changed that? Now, they have upped the stats on Operation Relics, because now you have the relics that are craftable as well. So those have been increased. Oh, all start at 60 equipment is now bind on pickup, as we had talked about, and they let us know this was coming. That means you don't need to, well, you can no longer create a character, take its gear, put it in your legacy bank for someone else to pick up, delete the character, rinse and repeat, but you can get the gear from vendors. So, but the ones you actually get from your level Insta60 token are now bind on pickup, so you can't trade them. And all lockboxes rewarded from heroics are now bind on pickup. Now, again, I believe this is an exploit fix, because I was reading about an exploit where people were getting these boxes that were buying to Legacy and sending them to their alts and equipping them with gear like level 65 or something, gear on level 1s, because there was no level restriction or something painful like that. Anyway,
Lots of good pranks on Korriban and Tython were had.
on PvP servers. So anyway, you can't do that anymore. They fixed that. Next, in missions and NPCs, nearly all NPCs killed in open areas now drop items appropriate to the player's natural level. Because as you'll probably have noticed, you just tended to get the crap that you would have got if you were at level, and if you were gone back with level sync, now you will get the good stuff. That's great.
Interesting.
Very happy about that. Companions will no longer stop healing you during certain encounters. I don't know which encounters they're talking about, but that would suck. Apparently tank companions have regained the ability to shield themselves from attacks. I hadn't realised they'd lost it, but then I run with healers, so that would have been a bit unfortunate. They've corrected numerous instances of incorrect credit and XP rewards across the galaxy. Let's hope they scaled those up rather than down in those cases. There was some mission scaling was a bit messed up. They fixed that, so a whole lot of bug fixes basically. Bounty hunters who have begun Kotfi are no longer able to encourage Mako or Torian to act on their feelings for each other. Ooh, okay.
5 years later, hey baby.
The amount of glowing and common crystals rewarded from the Forge Alliance's questline has been greatly reduced. That's a bit unfortunate because you got a lot from that.
Yeah.
As in the 3 lockboxes. I think each one contained 99 or something. It was,
99, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is going to be reduced. Now, bonus series. There were NPCs on the fleet for Nar Shaddaa, Hoth, Alderaan. These are all now on their respective planets, so you can no longer get the bonus series from the fleet. You will have to, but you can easily get them from the planets. That's good.
Okay.
Actually, makes more sense. It was always a pain finding the damn NPC to start those because they're on the fleet in a kind of odd locations. And finally, something that was mentioned on Reddit, and Rach just confirmed it, that's Zamzam. There is a mailbox now in the PvP section on the fleet. If you remember, previously there wasn't, and now there is, just right where you would expect it, where the PvP terminals are. So, fantastic. Better late than never. Yes. Alright, that is Game Update 4.1 Anarchy in Paradise. The patch notes anyway, there's quite a bit more detail on certain things, which I didn't cover. Read them if you desire, they're quite long. The Anarchist Alliance pack also came out with 4.1. Now, Dolphy has a preview, which I'll link to. She, as usual, covers all the stuff that's in there. One of the best things is, of course, the Unstable Arbiter's Lightsaber, which we talked about previously. There's both a single-blade and dual-bladed lightsaber with the Kylo Ren-style blade, but without the crossguard.
Right.
They're quite rare. Very few people have actually got them. Some people had opened hypercrates, several hypercrates, and just not got one.
Wow.
But they have been seen in the wild, so they do exist. It just seems the probability is quite low.
I wonder how much they'll run for on the GTN once they start becoming unbound.
Yeah.
A lot, I would imagine.
Yep. Now, someone actually said they got one out of the Grand Chance Cube.
The odds of that are so incredibly
Which would be
low.
0. But it does show that the Grand Chance Cube, I thought it was just previous items, but it looks like its loot table
Current
includes
items
items
too.
from the current
Yeah.
pack. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's the chance of that, getting the lightsaber? Now, it also includes the Swamp Rancor, which is kind of cool. And
That's
what was
mount.
supposed to be in this pack was the Cybernetic Rancor, which bears an absolutely stunning similarity to the dreaded Enhanced Rancor, which you got out of Nightmare Mode Dread Palace. It was just a reskin, and it disappeared. So it was in the preview, but it did not end up in the final version of the pack. So clearly they listened, because people were a little annoyed at that.
Yes, they were very frustrated because there's the content that's some of the most difficult in the game, the nightmare mode stuff. You don't really need gear at that point from doing them, and one of the big rewards, the big reasons to do them is to get this very special cosmetic gears, very special cosmetic mounts, and they just reskin it so you could get it really easily. And they were barely different at all. One was brown and one was green, I think.
So let's hope that was some sort of horrible mistake. It was never intended, but they certainly have listened to the feedback and got
It makes
rid
me
of
wonder
it.
how that happens. Like maybe one of the artists by Cartel Market was like, "Hey, look, there's this cool model that hasn't been reused anywhere. Let's reuse it."
I would guess you are absolutely right about that. Absolutely right. Where's this used? Anyone know? Nah. All right, she'll be right. And now, as far as the contents of those packs, the Alliance packs, the Anarchist packs, they had confirmed previously you can get 2 Grand Chance Cubes, as Blacklock Blade discovered. So there's 2 items in each pack. Each of them has a chance to be bronze, silver, or gold. If it's bronze, you will get a Grand Chance Cube, and thus you could get 2 Grand Chance Cubes. Now, as far as the probability of all this, it's hard to tell because you haven't got a large enough sample size, but I saw various people posting about it, and it looks like it's roughly 50%. 50-ish% chance of getting a Grand Chance Cube as one of those
That's
items.
so silly. You
For
shouldn't
silver-
get 2, at least.
Well,
shouldn't
you
be
need
allowed
some
to
sort of
get 2.
anti-streak technology to prevent that, but they don't. Clearly, they don't do that. Ari, she bought a 5-pack of these packs and got exactly 1 chance cube. So
Wow.
10 items and got 1. It's all random. This is just the way random number generator works.
What was the most interesting thing she got?
I don't remember. Sorry.
But it wasn't a rank or the lightsaber.
She didn't get anything too spectacular. Just
Okay.
gear and stuff. It was all right. But you certainly didn't get one of the fancy lightsabers, as McCassin did, who said it was the best thing they ever got out of a pack. And probably very true. McCassin said, "New sounds, very electric with lots of sizzles and pops. Vastly different from the rest in sounds as well as visuals." And I believe, Chill, you responded to SWOTOR and said you were looking forward to hearing how it sounded.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it was exactly as
Sounds
you
like it's going to be
anticipated.
good. I can't wait. Wonder if Kranatoku will get one.
Well, knowing his luck, who knows, actually. It's hit and miss. All right, that's the pack. Now, just a quick word of warning about chargeback. Now, someone on the forums, they opened some packs and they called customer service trying to get their money back, their cartel coins back, because they didn't get what they wanted. So, yeah, fat chance on that one. They had a bad customer service experience. This very much could turn into a he said, she said, so I won't go into that. But somewhere in the thread, someone suggested, why don't you do a chargeback on your credit card? That is, say that the money that you paid for your subscription or whatever, or for your cartel coins, was a bad transaction, and the credit card company will charge back, get the money back off EA. Because you got ripped off, therefore you get a refund. Now, it is possible to do that, and the bank will probably honour it, but Eric popped into the thread and locked it down to say, if you do that, your account, your EA account and your SWOTOR account will be banned without question. So you do a chargeback, you will be banned. So
Right.
go right ahead, get your money back, but you'll never play a game on that account again. So, and certainly be locked out of SWOTOR forever. So just think about that. And he does mention,
exactly.
if you do have a problem, there are ways. There's an email address you can write to, communitysupport@swotor.com. You can call customer support and ask to speak with a supervisor, as this guy did, and had a better experience. But again, they wouldn't give him a refund. Or actually, I believe they said you had to do a customer service ticket in game, and he said he'd put in 3 tickets and hadn't got a response for months. Though, just a reminder, if you put in a bug, you don't get a response. So they have warned us about that. They just go to on the devs list of stuff to fix. So what are they going to tell you? It's on the list. So yeah. So anyway, but the bottom line is, if you do a charge bank with your bank or credit institution, expect to be banned. That's just standard policy.
Yeah, it seems like a very last resort kind of thing. Like maybe someone charged your card and bought $300 of cartel coins, and you're like, oh, I don't even want to play SWTOR anymore. I'm done. Maybe you could charge back then, but they'd probably refund you anyway if you were like polite about it and talk to them.
Exactly. So yeah, doing that kind of stuff is just nasty, and the consequences are pretty much as you would expect.
And it's to prevent people from spending $300 on cartel coins and then saying, oh, a chargeback. I get all my money back, and then I still get to play with all my cartel coins. Yeah, they don't want that happening.
And I suspect the billing department has to deal with a bit of nastiness about that. So
they're not going to deal with
headache. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll give you the money, but well,
yeah, they're not going to deal with you anymore
and
after
say
that.
goodbye at the same time. All right, now EA did put out their quarterly report. This follows their earning call. This is their Form 10Q for those of you who know anything about American financial stuff. On the 8th of Feb, and this is where, if there's any bad news, this is where they tend to bury it, as opposed to earnings call, where it's all unicorns and sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
But it was all good. So what they said was, for service and other revenue, for the 3 months ended December 31st, 2015, service and other revenue was $445 million, primarily driven by FIFA Ultimate Team, some sports crap, and Star Wars The Old Republic.
Yay.
So that's fantastic. So SWTOR is clearly performing well.
Hey, we're not going to get closed next year. No SWTOR 2. Woohoo.
All right. So that's all I'll say about that. Now, SWTOR Economics, Andrew, has done a bit of an analysis of this. And, well, we'll read that to see what you think. I will link to it in our show notes. And we may get Andrew on to talk about that if he's willing. Now, in community news, thanks to our latest Utini patron, the very generous Bill Looper. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Bill.
Now, Chill has already talked through Dread's Utini events, and he's already said he will be doing a Empire Side one in March, though there are several Utini events remaining. I will link to his post and also to Chill's stream. Chill, can you push that to YouTube, or did you already?
My stream is already pushed to YouTube, yes.
I'll link to Chill's stream, which he has pushed to YouTube for that, so you can actually see him working through it. And I believe Dredd said that it was exactly what he was hoping for, hearing Chill's, the way he was thinking through it and chasing stuff down. So
right. And
it was
including
great.
Making some hilariously off bad choices and completely missing the point on some of them. Yeah, it was. It really was. It really was.
Now, and finally, in community news, I did want to mention someone on Reddit was asking about the set bonuses and came up with 4.0, and they said they found our post about it, of course, on OotiniCast.com, but it was out of date. And so I very quickly updated it. So our PvE and PvP set bonuses, if you Google that, will take you to the latest one, which is now up to date, the game update 4.0.
Excellent.
And that's the news. So let's talk the Academy. For the Academy this week, we're going to answer the basic question. I want to do a hard mode flashpoint or operation. How do they work? And we're going to hand over to Swoderista to talk about the basics of the Trinity, healers, DPS, tanks, all about that. So over to you, Swoderista.
There are two types of group content that you can do in SWTOR. There's flashpoints and operations. Flashpoints are a thing you can do with 3 other players in a group of 4. There's tactical and hard mode flashpoints. Tactical you can do with kind of any role, doesn't matter who you take as long as you've got 4 people. But hard mode flashpoints, as well as operations, they need specific roles. These are things you can do at level 50 plus, but I recommend that you don't hop in until you hit level 65 or the max level of the game at the time. In hard mode ops, or in hard modes and in ops, there's the Trinity. There's DPS, tanks, and healers. DPS are the damage makers. They focus on getting the highest numbers they can while hitting the boss. They focus on their optimal rotation, and they focus on using specific moves in the best order they can to make the most damage on the boss. A really good tip that DPS can use is to use Alt-F to focus target on the boss. If there's any other ads that pop up or a second boss, you can easily switch back and forth with focus target. Tanks have a different role in DPS. Tanks have the boss focus on them. They use taunts to make sure the boss is always attacking them, and their gear is very defensive as well as their abilities. Tanks have a really nice thing that they can toggle on their UI called Target of Target using the interface editor, and that shows what the boss is currently focused on. And if it's not you and you're the tank, you should probably taunt it to get it to pay attention to you.
Yep.
Tanks should always make sure that they're paying attention to their defensive abilities, because although they do have moves that do damage, Them staying alive at all times is the most important part of their fight. Tanks also have a leadership type role in the fights themselves, if not in the group. They're the ones who lead the fight. They often move the boss around. They often start the next phase. So if you're not interested in being a very active part of the fight, you might want to try a DPS role. It's the easiest one and the one that BioWare actually recommends to new players. Tanks also get to do something called a tank swap in many operations. Not as much in Flashpoints, but in operations, almost everyone has at least one tank swap. And that's when you have 2 tanks in your group. Each one is on each boss, and at some point during the fight, you'll need to swap bosses. This is often to mitigate a bunch of damage or to prevent getting debuffed by one of the other bosses, and sometimes you have to run back and forth all over the screen just to get a hold of the boss that you want.
Yep.
Healers have the third role in the Trinity. Healers keep everyone alive, including the DPS and the tanks, especially the tanks in this case. Healers, instead of watching the boss's health, they watch the group's health, and they often don't even look at the rest of the screen, just the bars that show everyone's health bars. They also need to watch out for cleanses. Cleanses help get rid of horrible things that have happened to the DPS or the tanks. They're a debuff, and it will kill people really fast if they're not getting rid of. So if you don't know where your cleanse is, make sure to look around for that. All 3 of these roles have a very important thing they need to watch out for in hard mode flashpoints and ops. This is called raid awareness, and this will keep you alive and not just die in 5 seconds. Some things you want to watch out for are: don't stand in circles on the ground. Zoom out so you can see most of the fight. Keybind and know where some of your most important moves are, and these can include your hard stuns, your interrupts, your pushes and pulls, and anything that makes you move faster so that in an emergency situation you can just hit it really fast and not worry too much about it. If you're interested in trying out hard mode flashpoints with 3 other people, you can join Group Finder. To get into the Group Finder, look near your map and there's an icon of 3 little people. If you want to get into operations, you can also join that way, but a better way to get into them is to watch Fleet Chat and look for groups that are advertising that are looking for another person.
Excellent. Yeah, and I would say as far as being able to stay out of, having the raid awareness to stay out of the circles and so on, having tried all 3 of these in operations, for me it was hardest to do in healing mode, just because I was not looking at the boss and I wasn't necessarily looking at any other part of the screen. I was all too often focusing hard on the party health bars. So for me, it was raid awareness was most difficult in the healing mode.
It's so true.
Yeah, and kind of easiest in the tank mode because that's all you're doing is trying to make sure that the tank is that the boss is focused on you. And DPS was almost as easy though. So
thank you very much, Swordrista.
No problem.
Go, Jill.
Alrighty, that'll bring us to the Force Feedback where we read out your tweets and emails. We'll start off with Rendrin, who wrote, I'm not sure if I missed something or if there's a bug, but all of my mounts offer excellent protection against being knocked off now. I think it coincided with my referral, but it's possible I missed something before. Are all of my mounts supposed to gain that ability once I have access to the Kurtab Alliance, or was there some kind of update I missed?
Now, I did respond to Rendrin, because I know the Kurtab Alliance does indeed have excellent knockoff protection, but I'm pretty sure a lot of mine didn't, and then he responded. And he said, I noticed that my Jungle Slain didn't have the protection, so I went to another character with an animal, and I didn't use the Kurtab Alliance on him yet. All of the Prinaway, the Long Spur Stab, the Kraken Daggerstar, JA 3-speeders, in short, all of the bonus speeders I get on all characters have knockoff protection. Checking on even more characters, all of the non-animal mounts that aren't automatic for each of my characters seem to have knockoff protection while none of the animals do, not even my Cyborg mount. And that's regardless of if I've added the Kurtab to my collection. My BA2 Recon Walker doesn't have the excellent protection when I mouse over it either. It's just every single speeder. Nope, here are 3 speeders that don't have it. The custom-built hover bike, the long spur scout, and the boosted classic speeder bike, the brown one. The Lawson Duster is only good. Maybe I just thought it was more rare than it is. So yeah, it is a bit hit and miss. I think the cartel market ones do tend to have the excellent knockoff protection, because real money, as opposed to all the ones you buy in-game or otherwise receive.
Right.
But I really haven't actually sat down and worked it out, so I might actually do some research on this and check back next week.
Okay. That sounds good. Anthony wrote, which class is better at healing, mercs or operatives?
Now, the quick answer is that prior to 4.0, mercs or commandos were certainly on top, but in 4.0, it's not so much. I believe sorks and sages are pretty much the best, followed by operatives, followed by mercs and commandos. But that's more or less anecdotal. I haven't really looked at any numbers on that. Swerderista, what have you found when you've been raiding?
I've just heard in general that the operatives, they heal people in the kind of the middle, sages heal all around, and mercs heal single targets, but I'm not a healer myself, so couldn't tell you too much.
Mercs and commanders do now have some very nice AoE, but the single target are not as strong as they used to be. So that certainly was the way it tended. So they seem to have balanced it out. Maybe it's all just a lot more even now. Okay, so we don't know, but mercs, I know they're perfectly adequate healers, as I found on my commando. Because certainly I couldn't quite keep up with Chill, but I was pretty close for the most part.
Yeah, as far as the tanks and the healers, although there's ones that are better for specific fights, there's none that are horrible. So I would definitely suggest just checking out the ones that the abilities feel more fun to you. And you can, even if you have a level 60 token kicking around, you can make one, try it out, delete, try out the other one, then make the one you like the most.
That is a great idea.
Refresh,
yeah,
delete before you hit level 61.
Yeah, that's very cool. And the style is what it's all about too, as what's fun for you, but just how it feels. Because of the style of the sage, because you have to use up your resource and then get it back again. Just using an ability as opposed to the automatic regen with the operative and the merc, where it drops a certain amount. The further it drops, the slower the regen. That can get really annoying. I kind of like the direct way on the sage, but again, depends on how you like to play. If you keep it balanced right, you never have a problem on the sorks, on the mercs, and the operatives. Yeah, just see how it feels, and that's a great idea about the Insta-60.
Excellent. All right, Alex of the Geek Podcast wrote, you've heard of cats, dogs, and even fish. Now introducing domesticated racklings. And there's a screenshot. I believe that's from the Dr. Loken.
It's so cute.
With that building you go to, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want your own little rackling pet, there's like 7 or 8 you can get throughout the game.
This is true. A lot of racklings out there.
That's true, yes.
Dekion wrote, this popped when I logged into my Sith Assassin. I haven't been on Rishi in several weeks. And it says, deep contact. And while on Rishi, you made contact with strange entities from beyond the galaxy and had your physiology altered by their mysterious technology.
The heck is that? That's strange.
Yeah, that is
a weird
idea. Achievement. Sith Assassin. I think that might be related to the class side quest that you do on Rishi, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Let's see. Justin, aka Strike Zone on the Shadowlands and in the Tor Wars Guild. No Star Wars jokes for Tio today, but I wanted to ask about the Star Chamber, the last part of the Imperial Agent story. Yes, I just finished it, taking my time, but feeling the pressure with Chapter 10 just days away. I'm hoping that I can ask this question without getting spoilery. As the agent walks around the Star Chamber, there are all these displays of what look to be artifacts from Star Wars history. I did see that almost all of them have a placard that reads in Aurebesh. May this mark be remembered for all time. Thank you, Aurebesh Translator app. I was wondering if anyone took the time to see if these were actual things from the Star Wars galaxy, and if so, what were they? I was expecting to see the crate housing the Ark of the Covenant somewhere in there.
Now, that would have been a nice Easter egg.
That would have been funny. I know the folks at BioWare are big fans of inserting fun Easter eggs like this in similar situations. I think it was the final level of the Seeker Droid missions where you see references to Carnes Moore and the suspended animation sarcophagus that you see in the Star Wars Vector storyline from Dark Horse. I also got the biggest kick out of the actual fleet station being named Carrick Station, after Zane Carrick, hero of the Knights of the Old Republic Dark Horse comic. And thank you for putting on a great show as always.
Was it
I
really?
remember.
I never read the comics. How about that?
I remember when I first started the game, when I was on Coruscant and stuff, there were so many signs. I got really into translating them from Orabish, but there was never really any interesting ones. They just said what you'd expect random signs to say.
You're right. Keep out and warning and stuff like that a lot of times. And Blay, aka Blacklock, wrote, "It made it here to Wales," and he has the Utini Rage t-shirt.
And you can get your own Utini Rage or Utini Nights from our store, which you can get to via OotiniCast.com. There's a little store link up on the menu bar, so if you're interested in getting your own.
And Mark wrote, 1. We raised a ticket and got a standard pre-made reply, which included the following. Quote, "We are sorry that you have encountered an issue with your mission. However, please be advised that we currently only offer support for class story missions." Kind of makes me wonder what's the point of paying for a sub if they'll only look at class-specific stuff.
Wow. Yeah.
It's kind of
that's
sad. Well,
kinda
we don't
weird.
know. We don't know what he submitted it for. It could be, I don't know where to find the item for this quest, or it could be actually broken. So, Mark, what I suggest to you is go to reddit.com/r/Sator and post exactly what steps you're on at the quest and exactly what your issue is there. There's a lot of folks around there who are willing to help you out, see if they can find a solution for it, even if customer service doesn't have the time for you right now.
Or Google it. You'll find
Or
that if you
Google
Google
it.
almost anything, and you will find someone has had that problem in the past, and there'll probably be a solution posted as well.
Yeah, and I would imagine that the reason for that policy is just because you cannot kill your class story question and start it over. You know, once it's going, it's going. So, but with regular missions, you can, if it as a last resort, abandon them and try again. So that's probably why that policy is in place that way.
Particularly now, where the only missions you really have to do are the class story, and I suspect they probably include Planetary Arc in that category of stuff they would look at as well. Whereas all the exploration missions, which you have to specially switch on a flag to actually be able to see the things at all, they just don't care.
Right. Mark also wrote, 2. Is it bad that I'm hoping that they make an Alliance companion that can be gotten through Galactic Starfighter, like Pierce or M4X, but by doing GSF battles? It would help people to get people to actually try GSF, and then hopefully some of those will decide they like it and want to play it more.
But I mean, when we had the PvP ones, when they first came out, all the PvPers were complaining about all the trash players that were coming in because they were so bad because they were just playing to get their companions.
That'll be an issue with GSF too, but on the other hand, I'm sure the GSF folks who, would probably just be happy to have the extra population at this point.
I wonder if they'd add a companion for the old player versus the computer space missions. I haven't done those in so long. They're really fun, but there's no reason to do them reward-wise right now.
None at all.
No. They're very pretty, though.
Yes.
And they have good music, too. Elion D. of the Epic Guild on the Shadowlands wrote, "Hi, guys. I just wanted to respond to those players who responded to my letter from last week. They obviously have selective memory on what I said and chose to only recall the parts they disagreed with, ignoring my points about the abundance of old and new group content in the game over its lifespan. As an aside, I never use the words petulant or whining or any such adjectives, but perhaps some saw that in themselves. What I was saying is not that the complaining players should play solo or play solo content. What I was saying is that there are plenty of content that can be enjoyed in groups, and that those players need to expand their horizons beyond operations and flashpoints and find avenues to play with their groups in other ways, or perhaps find new ways to enjoy their ops and flashpoints with their friends. As an example, how many planets has your group or guild conquered? All of them? Has your group beaten all the world bosses? What are you doing to help new players learn ops and hard mode flashpoints so your groups can grow? Have you had a stronghold decoration party, a toy show-off party, deco exchange or trade event, cantina exploration party, parties in every cantina in the game? In episode 242, the list Tio read had a majority of players who are finding plenty to do. All numbers are approximate, but close. Total responses are now approximately 56. 3 doing other real-life things, 16 letting subs lapse, quitting or playing other games, 6 of these taking a break until new content, and 37 still playing the game with other activities including ops, PvP, leveling alts, and etc. So a majority with their glasses half or more full. The numbers don't lie. Every week I see guilds on the leaderboards, and obviously these groups are finding things to do. Every day I see people in chat looking for groups and groups in chat looking for people. In the last 2 weeks alone, I've seen no less than half a dozen new guilds formed and recruiting. People are playing the game, they are playing in groups. People are doing lots of things because there are lots of things to do. The characterization that my view is simply a solo player view is wholly inaccurate, and self-serving to those who stubbornly hobby horse this "we want more ops" mantra. My point is that there is a ton of content that can be enjoyed in a group if one simply expands one's view to a glass half full instead of half empty view, and looks around and gets creative. Of course, it would be great if there was a new op every quarter, or biannually, but we don't have that now, so if we truly want to play the game and spend time in it with friends, then we have to find other ways to enjoy spending time together. Frankly, given the financial and corporate political constraints that BioWare is obviously under, we're lucky to still have a game at all. We probably wouldn't if EA and Lucas didn't have a contract in force, so be grateful for what we have. Excessive complaining and negativity won't make it better. All it will do is further crush BioWare's morale and make it harder for them to do their jobs. They need our support, not a bunch of negativity. Yes, it's okay to say what you want and to point out things that need improvement or correction, but excess negativity does more harm than good in the long run. So if what you really love is playing with people, then simply find new ways to play with the people you love to play with. The toys are there, and they are plenty. Myopia inhibits discovery. Yours in fun, Elian Descartes. Thank you, Elian.
Yeah, and all good points, pretty much. Can't really argue with any of that. So, needs saying, remember there is stuff to do if you want to do it. If you've been here since the beginning, it may be getting a little difficult, or you may just be tired of it, and so take a break and come back when you feel the urge. Remember, it is the only MMO with lightsabers.
And I said Descartes at the end, though, but is Descartes actually the one who sent in the next picture to you? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. I did. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't emboldened, so I assumed it was part of the same thing. Okay, so Descartes wrote in, or sent in a picture, "Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. But is this your card?"
I'm sure we all remember that scene from early in A New Hope.
All right, and were there any questions in the chat room or anything like that we need to discuss?
Not that I saw. Let's give the guys a minute or a few seconds to respond. I didn't actually see anyone ask anything.
I like that. Anyone know how to stop a GTN spending habit? I would be a multimillionaire if I weren't due to the GTN. So addicting, says your average nerdy gamer. Become free to play, and then you have a 350k credit cap, and yeah, you're done.
And you're done.
That'll do it, yep. Unless you want to spend money on those escrow thingies. Right.
Yes, Fiona, we see you.
All right, I guess that's it.
All right, then, that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /c join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is from Mevio's Music Alley. Check it out at music.mevio.com. That's MEVIO. And thank you to the chat room, and thank you, Swotorista.
Good night, everybody.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, guys, keep recording. Thank you, everyone. And Nooba later, do we do any PvP content in our guild? No. Well, some guys do, but really it hasn't been our focus of late. So, yeah, if anything, it's more PvE these days. But obviously we welcome anyone who can do whatever the hell they like. Is the bottom line. And your average nerdy gamer will answer your question about Starter Ops next week. Onto the GTN.
And Blay was saying that earlier that he actually had one recently. He has both pets now, so he'd like someone else to be rolled for the tip of the week.
Who else for the other? All right. Actually, chill. Let me just get you to
say the name.
And the winner is, when I work it out,
okay.
I'm going to just
get to that
flip
part
between 1 and 2, so whoever's first, there were 2 other people.
Okay, first tip was Kuze. So congratulations, Kuze. You're the winner of a Ton Fawn or M83R droid pet code courtesy of BioWare and a new OotiniCast provided pack from the latest shipment. If you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the holo feed. Tio?
Excellent. Thank you. I'll have to remember to cut that in.
I've done this 247 times or so. Not quite
also,
true. We didn't do the tip of the week right away, but I've done
ish,
it plenty.
let's call it ish. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Next week we'll have Blay on Blacklock and maybe
great.
someone else.
He can give us a real Welsh accent.
Indeed. All right. Thank you all, and we
See
will
you, chat room.
talk to you then. Enjoy chapter 10.